We started Camp Rainbow in 1983. I worked with the Dream Factory. My family helped start it. And we would do dreams for these kids, and then we wouldn't ever see them again. We wouldn't know how they were doing. And so this other lady, Mary Woodall, who was a nurse too, we talked about, well, why don't we just have a camp for these kids? And I worked at Children's Clinic then. I was a nursing supervisor there. And I talked one of the doctors, Dr. Prime, into coming down here and being our doctor for the week. And so we started that, and we were pretty poor. We didn't have much money, and we were pretty small. We had 14 kids, and we just got that side of the campground over there, the side, the ABC side. And the other half of the campground was shared with a mental hospital patient, so that was interesting.
I bet it was interesting.
We were real small, but we had a good camp.
Well, I've just been I guess a lifetime volunteer with Camp Rainbow and Dream Factory. Dream Factory started in 1981 in Clarksville. The first one was started in Hopkinsville in 1980. I started out kind of as I guess you call it a gopher, and was really kind of scared to get involved with the kids because I didn't know, about their illnesses and that type of thing. And one thing involved around another, and now I'm in it all the way, I guess you'd say.
Dr. Moore, and I've been here, I guess, at Camp Rainbow somewhere around, let's see, probably around 1990. Started working at the clinic, and been medical director for about the last 4 or 5 years. Camp Rainbow. The doctors that I work with, Dr. Prime was the original doctor here when Camp Rainbow started 23 years ago, and so the camp has always been run by the same physicians that are now in Premier Medical Group. Started out with the Children's Clinic physicians. And then since that group folded into Premier, then those physicians have just kept running the camp.
Okay, I'm Jeannie Betancourt, and I've been involved with Camp Rainbow for 5 years. I got involved with it through Premier Medical Group.
Is that where you work?
I used to work there, and now I'm retired, so I have lots of time to help Diane out. And I was looking for something meaningful in my life, and I asked Diane if I could help her, and I was so touched the first year that I came here by the children that I can't imagine not coming back.
I am Melanie Cobb, and I am the right-hand person for my mom, which is the camp director, Diane Miner. And I am her gopher, and I help coordinate the campers and counselors, and I help make things run behind the scenes.
How long have you been doing?
I actually came to camp when my parents and grandparents used to come to camp, and there wasn't anyone at home to watch us because the whole family came down. My aunt and uncle came down. So I started coming down when I was about 5 years old, and I would come down as a tag along with my parents. And then when I turned old enough to be a lifeguard, I came down as a lifeguard, and then I turned into a counselor, and then eventually I went to staff. So I've come continuously since I was about 5.
So you've really been involved in this just about all your life, then?
Exactly. Yes, it's definitely something that has been part of my life since the beginning.
I think to me, that's the amazing part of it, is we take all these people from different walks of life who are volunteering their time to make something happen for the kids, and it comes together every year. And it's not a individual that makes it run, because it's everybody. It's everybody together. But Diane Miner, though, if you're going to put a hat on anybody, she would never claim it. But without her organizational skills, I don't know that all those people would come together. And I think that's a tremendous skill that she has.
My wife and I had 3 healthy kids, and just great. But there's nothing that does your heart good like watching these kids that have difficulties and they have problems doing some things, but the desire is there, and if you help them just a little, they can do it.
My name's Randy Peterson from Clarksville, Tennessee. I've been coming to Camp Rainbow full time for probably about 8-9 years, I'm guessing, completely, right in there close. And before that, I came a few times just to see what was going on. Got involved because of my wife, Bird Peterson. She's been coming down here probably, I don't know, 20 years. The reason I came part-time for a while is I was kind of scared I couldn't do it. But
In what way?
I'm just a big old softy.
Oh, yeah.
But now I wouldn't miss it for the world. I consider it my reality check. Lets me know how piddly my problems really are. And this was the reason I didn't want to do this.
Don't worry about it. There's nothing wrong with emotion.
No, I try to tell people how this place is, and it's, you know, if you or I get sick, it's probably something a bad habit we've had in the past. These young has been dealt just a bad hand, and just try to keep them happy. My main goal when I come down here.
My name's Ralph Conklin. I live in Clarksville, Tennessee. I work on the fishing dock, and this is my 6th year of being at Camp Rainbow, and I started out first as a counselor. And the first year I counseled, I had 2 young boys, and they enjoyed the fishing, and so I've enjoyed fishing all my life. So when I finally got promoted to the dock, this is where the kids really enjoy it, catch fish for their very first time. And it's something to see these kids come down here with all of their ailments, and we think we got problems until we start looking at them, and it's wonderful what they enjoy down here.
Just keep on going. Okay?
My name is Hubert Bowman. I'm from Clarksville, Tennessee,
Just talk to me.
and I've been involved with Camp Rainbow since the beginning. I have missed 4 days out of this is the 23rd year. I started out as a counselor and was a counselor for several years, and then started working at the dock and worked there several years, then worked in Pinewood Derby cars for 2 or 3 years. Now I've been back at the dock 2 or 3 years, so I've got a little over 22 years in here. And I got involved because of Alan and Dean Hall. They asked me to come down the first year, and we only had 14 children that year. And everybody did everything at the same time. We all walked the pawpaw path, or we went swimming, or we went fishing, or we worked in crafts. But as we added more children and more staff, we expanded, and each child got to do what they wanted to then, and tried to match the counselors with the child. If a child liked to fish, we'd like to hook them up with a fisherman. If they'd like to swim, we'd like to hook them up with a swimmer. And it's great to see the expression and joy on the children's faces. I think it gives the children a good break, and I think it also gives their parents a good break.
I've been a member of Bikers Who Care for several years, and of course, I always came down to camp, you know, over the years, and got to coming down to camp and everything, just riding with all the other bikers and everything else like that too. And
So you're a member of...
right. I've been with Bikers Who Care for, well, I don't know, 15, 20 years, something like that. And came down to camp one year. It's probably been 8 years ago or something like that. And everybody gets together, and you know, with the campers and everything else, and so we were in the activity building, and there was a little boy came up to me, and we were sitting there talking and messing with him, and I was messing with him, and that was when the Ninja Turtles were in style. You know, everybody was in the Ninja Turtles, so he had on Ninja Turtle outfitters or something on his shirt or something to that effect. So I started messing with him about Ninja Turtles, and then we got into kind of talking about that and everything. You know, I was just messing with him, which is what I do. That's my job. And so we were talking about that and various other odds and ends. Well, come to find out, the little boy couldn't see.
and he had an illness that had messed his eyes up where he couldn't see. And I don't think of him as blind, I just think he can't see. I don't think he's blind, he just can't see. And we connected. And we're working with little clay figures. And we make a clay figure, and I'd show it to him, and he'd say, well, that's a bird, you know, and he'd make one, and he'd give it to him, and he'd say, it's a fish or something. So we were catching on pretty quick, and then I was asking about different things that he was doing, and I said something, I forget what it was, and he said, well, I said today when I was a project or something he made, and he said, I said today that whoever said this word or said this about this project or something, that was the person that I was going to, you know, hook up with, and it's you know, you said that. So it was just kind of a magic deal, you know. So his name's Bubba Morton, and so we've been tied ever since. Like I said, it's been about 8 years ago.
My name is Brian Adams, and I've been with the organization, the Dream Factory / Camp Rainbow, for approximately 16 years.
What got you into it?
I had just turned 16 years old and became a lifeguard in Clarksville, and was recruited to come to camp and lifeguard at that early age. And it kind of got in my blood, and I've been here ever since. Just a wonderful experience.
When you say it got in your blood?
Well, when I came as a 16-year-old, kind of nervous, kind of scared. All I really knew was that this was a camp for, I guess, sick kids. And when I got up here, I just fell in love with the children, being with the children, and really just giving of myself. What a wonderful, selfish experience that I had myself. Not only helping the children, but a great feeling that it gave me. That's what I mean by it got into my blood. I was hooked, and I've been back ever since.
I actually found out about Camp Rainbow about 3 years ago. My son had made the trip up here with my husband to bring a horse and cart for some of the kids to ride on. And he was asked to stay for the rest of the week. They were short of counselors. And he had the clothes that he had on. So basically he had to borrow clothes from everybody for the whole week. They actually had to give him a toothbrush even.
But he stayed up all week?
He ended up staying. He came up on Tuesday and stayed the rest of the week. And what really touched me about that experience was when he came home on that Saturday, you know, I asked him, I said, Dylan, I said, just tell me about it. And he said, Mom, I can't tell you how great. He says, I can't put into words what I've just experienced. He said, it's changed my life. And you could just see by looking at him that it had been really life-changing. He said, I think I really got more out of it than the kids did. He said it was very humbling. And from that time, I really hoped that someday I would get to do this.
My name is Betsy Branson, and I am I've been given the title of crafts director. I don't find that I need a title to be here. I've been here before as a counselor. My first year here was as a counselor.
When was your first year?
Just 3 years ago. I have been asked to come to camp for several years previous to that, but I was afraid to come, as apparently a lot of people are. They're afraid to come because if they feel like I do, which I feel very strongly, I'm one of those people that is tenderhearted when it comes to children and animals. And I was afraid to come because I was afraid that I couldn't handle it. So I don't go to a particular church, but I feel that I'm a spiritual person, and I prayed to God to guide me, and I felt called.
All right. My name's Ron Keel. I'm a camp counselor at Camp Rainbow. I've been a counselor 4 years now. I've been involved with BWC and coming down here for about 7 years.
BWC being
Bikers Who Care. And I've been coming about 7 years, and I just started being a counselor 4 years ago.
Why? Why did you get involved in Camp Rainbow?
Well, I started coming down here and just, you know, being around the kids and realizing, you know, what they go through on a daily life, and you know, the kids, you know, coming up to you telling you it's the best time they've had in their whole year. This was the best week they've ever had, and all of that. And I was always on the side of raising money with Bikers Who Care, and I just felt like I wanted to try to kind of get more involved and get on the other side of it and see what it was about.
My name is Bird Peterson, and I'm one of the nurses here at Camp Rainbow. I've been coming to camp for, I think it's about 20 years. I'm not sure, I kind of lost count. I think they've been having camp for 23 years, and I didn't come for the first one. There was a short period of time that I didn't get to come, but for the most part, I've been here for 20 years. I am one of the nurses that work with the doctors that come down here, that rotate through here, so I work at the doctor's office where they are. And this year I was kind of officially given the title of Camp Scout, because I have, through our clinic and some of the other clinics around the area, called and got different children's names and gotten involved to get campers to come to camp. I also get the supplies together, all the and carry them back and forth every year to our office, all the supplies that we bring. The children bring their own medicines, the specific medicines they're on, but then I bring, you know, different things, because the counselors, after being here for the week, get headaches and simple ailments too, so we have to treat them as well as the campers. So we have to have all kinds of things, you know, for any kind of emergencies or non-emergencies that come up. So I get all that stuff together and try to help them get the applications together and get the medical applications and help them get all that together.
I originally got involved through Bikers Who Care, and the reason I got involved with Bikers Who Care and work with them so much is because when people ask me, what do Bikers Who Care do? We raise money and give it away to children. And this, by and large, is what we contribute most of our money to. And I hung around with some of the guys years ago that are in Bikers Who Care and got involved in it about 7 or 8 years ago and started coming to camp because we do a carnival every Thursday, and I'd come down and, you know, 20 years ago, if somebody would have told me that I was going to be at a camp, you know, that there were going to be some kids who had health problems, I was a stand back, standoffish kind of guy. I'd contribute and work towards the effort, but that just wasn't my thing. I didn't think that I was equipped to do that kind of thing, something somebody else could do. And, you know, it's funny how life works. And as I started coming about 5 years ago as a full-time counselor. And the year after I came to camp in June, that September, I was diagnosed with stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And being around the kids, you know, a lot of these kids will never have the physical abilities or quite the mental abilities that everybody else has or that I've had, you know, and they just made me look at my problems as being very nil. You know, my problems just seemed insignificant. And I learned so much from those kids that first year that, man, I was equipped to handle what I had to handle with no problem. You know, and it teaches you that. These children can teach you so much about the problems in your life by the way they are that it's just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Look at it as we're giving up anything, because you gain back more than you put in. When I leave, I feel like I'm fulfilled. I feel like I have really done something, and the kids leave happy. And when I checked in my first camper, one of the first campers on Monday morning, I asked her, I said, "Are you excited?" And she said, "I'm so excited. I took a nap on the way down here and I was smiling in my sleep." And that right there tells me that subconsciously and consciously she feels fulfilled with camp, and that makes me feel fulfilled.
One little girl that we had come in, she had a rare disease, and she came in on her walker and she acted like a little 80-year-old lady. And she was just so frail and quiet and bent over stature, you know. And when I talked to her mother on the phone, it sounded like she was a little old lady. Well, that little girl got down here to camp. She threw that walker away. She had a little walking cane that she only used occasionally. Well, by the end of camp, she was barely using that walking cane. She was fishing. She was talking, smiling, laughing. And we had videos showing when her mother picked her up. Her mother stood there and cried watching her child on the TV. She said, "This is not the same child I left. She is a child." You know, and she was a little old lady when she left her. And that story just happens over and over again. Kids that have poor self-esteem because they're different or something's wrong with them, they get here and they feel so good about themselves. Yeah, that's what makes it all worth it. I tell counselors that first night, and they don't believe me, that it'll probably be the hardest week of your life if they're new, but it'll also be the most rewarding. And at the end, they say, "Yep, you're right." It kind of helps us all keep a balance in life.
You know, me dealing with my situation and having cancer, you know, it's just a breeze for me, like I said, to look at them and the problems that they have. And I know some that have regressed since they've been here, you know, and we've had, you know, and there's usually maybe one that will pass away annually. But there are those that you come and you see, and 2 or 3 years later you see them again, and they're doing so much better. There's one young lady here, and 4 years ago, she was on a walker, and she would scare me to death. I mean, she looked like Demolition Derby in action. She would ram it into things and didn't have good control of her legs, and now she's walking and talking better, and you just look at somebody like that, and it can't help but inspire you. If it doesn't, something's wrong with you.
First year down here, there was a little fella named, excuse me, Andy Richardson. I don't know if you saw, we planted a tree for him Sunday. Andy probably came up to about right here on me, he's probably 5'5", 5'6". I'm about 6'2", 6'3". My wife said, Randy's gonna be working with y'all down at the boat dock. And Andy looks up at me and he said, "Don't worry, little buddy, I'll show you the ropes." And me and him was pretty good buddies. And visited him a few times when he was sick. Amazing young man, that's all I'm gonna say. Amazing young man.
It touched your life.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because he said all he ever did was live life to its fullest. So I try to do that.
It's something that I have to do. I mean, it's not even an option. Whenever I just recently got a new job, and I told him, you know, I said, you know, when I take this job, you're going to have to understand that the week before Father's Day, I'm going to take off. You know, and if you can't do that, then I'm not interested in the job. I mean, it's just that much of my life. It's a grounding experience that I need, and it's made me grow a lot, and I need it. So it's my yearly fix on the real world, you know, and it brings me back down, makes me appreciate everything.
And it's just amazing what Diane and them have done and Camp Rainbow has done for these kids. Like I say, some of them, this is the biggest thing in their life. It's one of the biggest things to me, you know. It's the best vacation a person can have, come down here and spend time with these kids. You know, it's bad to say, but a lot of their parents don't have time to spend time with them. And we have a week of no outside distractions or anything. It's just all about the kids. Everything is structured for the kids. You know, it's just an unbelievable thing, unbelievable feeling. It's just amazing what we do.
When you see them from year to year and the improvements that some of them make, it touches you. Or when you see a camper and the next year they don't come back, that touches you. And life is so short that I want to make sure that these kids have a great time. I want them to have every moment on this earth to be a happy one, because they deserve it. They don't deserve what they've been through. They deserve to have a week of happiness, and I think they find that here.
Well said. Is there anybody that you'd like to thank?
Oh yes, I have. I've seen some that were in real bad shape, and the first child I had was on a body cast, and he weighed 86 pounds, and if he didn't have that cast on, it was just about like handling an 86-pound wet towel, and he could only drink out of a sippy cup. He couldn't feed himself. He loved the girls, though, and he loved Diane. He'd get in the dining room, and he would be hollering, "Diane!"
Well, these kids have touched our lives more than we've touched theirs. There's no way to tell you, no way.
So it's just very nice how God takes something and he just spreads it further and further.
And nobody's paid to do this.
Oh no, nobody's paid. I mean, the doctors are actually losing money by being here, because if they were in the office all day, they would be generating revenue and paying expenses, but they're not. But as we all say, the pay we get is the smiles on those kids' faces and those hugs. Now, I charge hugs for a golf cart ride. I charge hugs. But other than that, that's our paycheck.
Oh, it's just, fills your heart. It's just a good feeling, to know that you're able to do this, and there's not enough money to pay somebody to do. I don't know. I feel there's times I feel guilty about getting to have the opportunity to do this, because it's more. I think, oh, this is. I just very grateful to have the opportunity to get to do this. I wished everybody took the time and were willing to try. They would all love it.
It's a heart thing. We go through our lives so busy and doing all these other things that we really think matter. But when you get to do something like this, it makes you feel good.
It's totally out of the normal for them. This is a week out of their lives that they get to be kids, and they don't get to be patients. It's just an awesome experience for them, just to realize that they're totally out of their element, that this is something new and refreshing for them, and really renews not only our spirits but the children's spirits.
BWC is a great outfit. I don't know that we could do without them. It certainly saves us a lot of work in raising funds, and of course they all do a real good job. Like last night there was 86 bikes here, so that shows that they have a lot of support behind us. And they said they had 62 fundraisers last year, I think. Well, that's a whole lot of fundraisers, more than one a week, and it takes a lot of work year-round. And of course the staff, especially the camp director and some of the group, work a good 6 months on camp each year, and it takes a lot of planning and a lot of work and a lot of dedication.
It's something to see these kids come down here with all of their ailments, and we think we got problems until we start looking at them, and it's wonderful what they enjoy down here.
Rainbow look like in the future?
I keep saying I want to groom another camp director. We keep this in our family a lot, but there's other people that can do it. I don't know how many more years our bodies are going to hold out, but as long as, the Lord wants us to do it and we've got the health and the ability, I hope that we keep doing it. Now, if the bikers ever said, okay, we're not giving you money anymore, we'd have a problem. We'd make a camp, maybe two, but that's all. It would end. We'd have to figure out how to make money, and that would be bad. So We don't know. You know, I just think it's in the Lord's hands, and He'll have it all taken care of, so I don't worry about it.
But there's no paid employees, strictly from the heart.
Strictly from the heart. So in a way, I guess you are paid in some way, though.
Greatly.
In what way?
Can't explain it.